Well, thank you for having me here tonight. My name's Tony Seymour. I'm the president and the co-founder of Alphaeon Credit. I consider myself an eyeball guy. For those of you who have been around for a minute, I started my career out of college at a company called Coburn Intraocular, which did a nice PMMA lens, which was bought by Stores Instruments, where I worked for 4 years. And I left Stores, which later became Bausch and Lomb, to go to Alcon Surgical, where I worked for 8 years. And then in 1999, I made a left turn, and I don't know what happened. I was helping a recruiter friend of mine fill a spot, and I went to work I went to interview with a privately held company at the time with 17 employees called Care Credit. And they wanted somebody to come in. They were just a dental company at the time, and they wanted somebody to come in and introduce patient financings to physicians who were doing RK and hopefully soon PRK. And I went in kind of eyes shut and was at Care Credit for 14 years and oversaw. By the time I left, I was a senior vice president, and I had 9 different verticals underneath me. And then I was lucky enough 11 years ago to come over and help start Alphaeon Credit. Next slide. Um, you know, we're similar to Care Credit in that we're a revolving line of credit. And, you can reuse the card over and over again. And we have 700,000 active card holders in our verticals. We also have a new product that's an installment loan, that's a deep subprime product. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But we have a waterfall with a prime product. And if we don't approve you on the prime, if you want, we'll buy deeper. Next slide, please. We kind of say that what we believe are our competitive advantages, our approval rates are really good in prime. We go down to a 600 FICO. Most of our competitors stop at a 680. So you should get, especially in tougher economic times, you should get more approval rates with us. Our fees, especially for you folks, are really, really good. They're probably beating substantially the merchant fees that you're paying now. You probably don't use a lot of the extended payment or the installment type loans, but if you do, our APRs tend to be very competitive and lower than our customer service. And then we really pride ourselves, we're kind of old school, and the fact that customer service to us is critically important. If you call Alphaeon Credit, somebody will answer the phone within 30 seconds, 97% of the time, and within a minute, 99% of the time. And it's not offshore and it's not a phone tree. It's a real life Alphaeon Credit employee. We know a lot of times when your staff calls us, they have a patient in front of them and they just want to know, they want an answer, they have a question, they want an answer. And for 10 years, we've offered what we believe is just world-class customer service, and our 10,000 providers love it. It's one thing that they constantly tell us that they like about us. Next slide. I mentioned that, we're a specialty credit card issued by Community Bank. Their Community's been around for 50 years. Community is if you have a NFL card for Ann Taylor, Victoria's Secrets, J. Crew, any of the 32 NFL football teams, It comes from Community Bank. They've been around for a long time. Uh, and our marketplace right now, so we're not involved in 90 different verticals and bonds and uh, massage envy. And we're laser focused on five markets. And that's plastic and cosmetic surgeons, dentists, dermatologists, and ophthalmology. Next slide. Um, the rates that you pay as being part of GPOphtho are the best that we offer in industry. So a lot of ophthalmologists today use 12 and 24 months deferred interest or no interest. And if you're not doing a whole lot of patient financing, or you're probably paying now for the 12-month 9.9. That's the stack rate for our biggest competitor, Care Credit, or 14.9 for the 24-month deferred interest. With us, you would pay 4.95 for the 12-month and 6.9% for the 24-month. So if you're financing $8,000 a month, which would be roughly $100,000 a year, by going over to Alphaeon Credit, you would save approximately $5,000 on the 12-month no interest and $8,000 on the 24 months no interest. If you finance more, you're going to save even more money. If you're using our extended payment plans, which is like an installment type loan, we're really low for the 36, 48, and 60 month. We're at 1.35. And a lot of you are probably paying, for your Visa, MasterCard, anywhere from 3 to 4% with the base rate they give you and then the surcharges that they throw in. So I think that the rates that GPOphtho has given you has been able to negotiate on your behalf are really, really competitive. You're not going to find these out there. So Jim did a great job in twisting our arm and getting us to come really down on these rates. Next slide, please. Um, this slide has an error on it. It says because in our other markets, we go down to a 640 FICO. In ophthalmology, it's a really good demographic. And we don't have, because it's a better demographic, refractive surgery, we don't have a lot of patient defaults. And the bank makes more money on these. We go all the way down to a 600. So I apologize. We do a lot of presentations and that somehow, but we go down to a 600 FICO in ophthalmology. We go up to $35,000. Our APRs are very competitive. On our EPP plan, they're 14.9 for the 24-month, and for the 60-month or 5-year plan, your patients would pay 17.9%. And if you're wondering, just because Care Credit's our biggest competitor out there, they're at 20.9% for the 60-month EPP, so we're lower than they are. Next slide, please. We recently introduced, I've been saying this for a year and a half, and we did not go into a recession as a company or as a country. But for the last year and a half, I've been saying that people with a FICO under 680 are really stretched. And that segment of the population has been they're living paycheck to, paycheck. They don't have a lot of money saved. And we just recently came out with a deep subprime program that will approve patients that Alphaeon Credit does not approve um, and we go down to a 500 FICO or no credit at all. So, you know, somebody, if you have a Gen Z living in your house, that's 22, 23, or even if they recently moved out and they've never really had established credit, we'll approve those people. We're approving right now about 85% of those that are declined on regular Alphaeon credit. Um, so if you're in a uh, area that the demographics may be a little bit more challenged, this may be something. It's not for everyone. So hang on to your seats. I just told you about some great merchant discount rates for you with our prime product. With the subprime product, the merchant discount rate is 24.99%, and the patients pay 35.9%. The only thing I can say is there is a large segment, about 22% of the population falls into this area. And a lot of these people are just happy that somebody will approve them. And we approve up to $6,000 in this segment. And they tend to focus more on what the monthly payment is. So for a $3,000 loan over 18 months, I think it's $350 a month. The loan terms are only 12 or 18 months. But the patients are the ones who seem very appreciative. I know a lot of us will look at these and say, it's pretty outrageous. But there are parts of the country where if you can afford the margins, patients really appreciate it. Next slide, please. So we have great approval rates uh, with the Access program. We approve up to $6,000. Um, there's not a lot of subprime companies out there right now, and some of them go up much higher than we do. They go up to 100, 125% APRs. And with the current economic solution in the Wall Street Journal on Tuesday, there was a really good article that Muhammad Al-Arian, who's Queens College, the dean of Queens College, and he's a widely popular economist, put on his LinkedIn page that the default rate has climbed on credit cards to 7.9, and it's getting close to where it was during the Great Recession. So people are challenged right now, and they're looking for, ways, if they have a job, ways that they can still continue to get the procedures and the treatment that they want. Next slide. This is just a slide that shows that we go from no credit up to 750 plus. Next slide, please. That's it.